Hello folks, I decided to start grafting, the grafting season, and I am down here in the microforest with this very interesting duo of trees. It's an elm, two root suckers which came out from a cut tree, and this very old hawthorn which I think it's maybe 30 or something years old, and you can see that it grows very high upwards, creating a nice dense canopy and shade. All those tiny branches were full with hawthorn and the birds have now eaten them. And my idea here is to renew and rebalance this hawthorn tree, because I want to save it. And this kind of swamp is not optimal when it comes to the wet, heavy snow which we're getting in winter. So I want to keep this vertical branch which goes up nicely, and I will probably shorten it at some point in the future and stimulate those new side shoots to form a new crown lower, and this whole whole section will be removed. And one of the things I want to do is, of course, this elm will have to go, and it will probably die on its own in the next couple of years. You can see two bigger elms down there. They are maybe 8 or up to 10 years old, but they are now both dead. The left one is dead, and the right one is dying from the Dutch elm disease. So the elms are not long-lived trees anymore here, but when I remove this elm, and the pressure will be lessened on the hawthorn, and I will cut here so there won't be any pull leftwards, and the whole stem will grow more vertically and will be more stable. And in the meantime, last year I did some cuts here to promote new sleeping buds to emerge, such as those new suckers, which I want to graft with our seedless medlar cyan wood. And let me show you, this is the last year graft. You can see that it was a cleft graft because this hawthorn branch was too thick for anything else, and you can see that it's perfectly calloused. The other cyan also took, but a small bird broke it off at some point in summer, so I came and reapplied the grafting wax here so the wound would seal properly and the cleft does not collect water. And you can see that this tiny cyan, it had two buds develop. It's maybe 40 centimeters of growth, which is not bad considering it's a hawthorn, a slow growing tree, and also considering all the shade it gets in summer. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And I removed more suckers here and there right now, and I want to graft those two with two of those super thin medlar cyans. Now, usually when I'm grafting, such as in this case, I'm using 2 to 4 bud cyan wood, but last year out in the wild I had very successful grafts with longer cyan wood of medlar with terminal buds at the top, like this, hopefully, yes. And the idea here is that when you have a terminal bud, there is no cut on the cyan on top to be waxed and to dry. And also I find that the fact that we have a terminal bud on the cyan promotes for more upwards growth right away. And I can always come back and prune in coming seasons if I wanted to be more branched out. Okay, so I prepped the two grafts. Hopefully the camera will be able to focus. You can see that working with such thin cyan wood, it can be challenging, but still I managed to do a rather elongated cut here on the rootstock, and I duplicated that on the cyan. So it's a very thin and tiny weapon tongue, and of course the cyan wood is maybe double, 2 times thinner than the rootstock, but that's not really a problem, because here with this one you can see that it's even thinner, and still what you need to do is align the cambium layers at least on one of the sides, such as I've done here. You can see that microscopic weapon tongue which I did here, and now I just have to tighten those with the grafting tape, and I'm done. Those ribbons which I leave on the signs are just a reminder or a sign to remove the grafting tape in midsummer or late summer, because when I'm working here close to the garden, I'm sometimes using those plastic non-biodegradable tapes, because they work better with smaller sign when you need a tighter wrap. And when I'm grafting out there in the wild, I'm usually using a biodegradable tape which disintegrates in about 6 to 9 months, so I don't have to go and visit each of the grafts individually. But out there I usually use thicker sign, so it's not such a problem. Keeping with the medlar theme, I wanted to show you just on how little hawthorn plant I managed to do a cleft graft with very tiny signs last year, and you can see that they both took and have just a little bit of growth on them, but considering they're here in the shade, I think that it's a good result. And what I find interesting, that having this top grafted on the hawthorn kind of limits the growth of the original plant, so not so much of the spiky branches of the hawthorn appeared during the summer. And another hawthorn with another medlar. I tried another very thin weapon tongue here last year, and it took nicely. I have removed the grafting tape so far. You can see this baby branch here which has formed, and this thicker graft is from 2 years ago. My weapon tongue was not perfect then, and it kind of became a bit swollen, but I don't think that will be a problem. And this here little branching out crown already gave us a couple of medlar here at the top. I even pruned it in at some point to stop it from growing upwards and spread more sideways. And another tiny weapon tongue here. And one of my aims for this medlar is to experiment, because one of the old timers here in the village told me that if you graft medlars on top of hawthorns, it stops sprouting all of the root suckers all the time. So I'm kind of wondering if that would work, and I'll keep you posted in the coming years.